something that we thought would be fun now that we're virtual and everything is online. So yeah, if you haven't done so already, check it out. We still have a few Life in the Zooms coming up, like travel tips, the mukbang challenge. So yeah, really try to go to those. They're really fun. So yeah, that was just like something that we're doing right now and the reason why we're hosting this workshop. Do you have anything to add, Jenny?
No, I just want to give another heads up, which is I just started recording. So as I mentioned earlier, like feel free to turn off your camera if you are not comfortable like showing your faces.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so really quick, so about us, a little bit about us, and then we want to know about you. And once you answer about yourself, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up or type it in the chat. Either works, in case you're in like a very noisy place and you can't unmute or you're just not comfortable. So yeah, so a little bit about me. My name is Emily Flores. I'm a third year. I study English and Spanish literature, and I'm the English Conversation Program intern for the International Center. And something fun that I started doing during quarantine is I started journaling.
So my turn?
Yeah.
Hey y'all, again, my name is Jiani Li, but also go by Jenny, and I'm currently, pronoun she, her, hers, currently a third-year criminology law society major. I'm one of the IC volunteers, and something I started during quarantine is homemade Korean barbecue and hot pot. So yeah, I'm a big foodie, and it's just really hard that I'm not able to go out to eat like during this time, so.
Yeah. Oh, and before I forget, something I forgot to announce at the beginning is that if you could all please input in the chat your name and your UCI email. This is just to keep track of who attended. So after the program, we know how many people were in it, just because it's sometimes hard to keep track of what is, how many people are coming and going because not everyone stays the whole time. So yeah, and feel free to, yeah, just add in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, if you're not comfortable sharing it into the group chat, you can just private message either me or Emily.
Yeah, but just make sure that it gets to us some way or another through the chat. Doesn't have to be like for everyone. Yeah. So now about you, you can share one of the two questions or both of them if you'd like, but the ones that we have is, what is one high and one low that you've experienced so far in quarantine? Or what is something you did for yourself this past week? And yeah, just unmute yourself if you want to. If not, just add it in the chat. Hi, in this workshop. Oh, thank you, Jane. And Lo drank too much coffee today. Ooh, yeah. Okay, I can relate to that. Anyone else? One high, one low?
Do you want to share some high or low?
Oh, is someone speaking?
Oh, it's me, Janine.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, wait, somebody shared.
Oh, you can go ahead and speak up.
One high would be I finished midterms this week, and one low, I would say I miss getting dressed, like going out. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Thank you. And I see Bonnie says she baked herself brownies yesterday to celebrate finishing her lab. Wow, that's awesome. Honestly, like, I wish you could ship them to me because I want brownies. That's really cool. And then Gabriela says, hi, have been doing virtual painting classes. Ooh, okay. You might be the one showing us then. And the low, not enough sleep. Wow, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, not good, but very relatable. Kurt, hi, started watching season 16 of Grey's Anatomy. Oh my gosh, there's so many seasons. I've never seen it, but season 16? No low, okay, that's good. Hi, it's Friday. Yeah, it is, Sandy. And I did some coloring yesterday, which was fun. We are actually going to talk about coloring a little bit at the end and the ways that that kind of helps to also de-stress, and a really good way to get your creativity and artistic self out. Like it's not just painting or drawing new things, but sometimes just even coloring a pre-made template can be a way for you to show your artistic side, and you can choose your own colors and make it your own. So we will be talking about that. Does anyone else want to share before we go into the game? Okay, so I think we can just head into the game. And if there's another comment, yeah, Jenny, please let me know. So yeah, feel free to keep commenting. So the game is called Draw Phone. If everyone can see my screen, if you can all go to drawphone.tannercruisen.com, and that is where it will take place. And I will create the game. So what you would have to put is you will have to put join game once I give you the code. So basically, just to give you a quick rundown of how this works, it's sort of like telephone, but with drawings. So we're all going to get one word, and then we're all going to have to draw it. And what it does is it's throughout the players, like it's going to shift like my drawing to, like, let's say Jenny, and then Jenny's going to have to guess what my drawing is. But if I'm really bad at drawing what my word was, she's going to guess another word, right? So let's say I start off drawing like a phone, and then it's so bad that when Jenny gets my drawing, she's like, oh, I think this is a banana. So then the word banana would go on to the next person, let's say Jane, and then Jane would draw a banana. And then like you just keep moving, and once the rounds are over, like you can see how your word got from being phone to like the most randomest thing ever because of the miscommunication. Um, so sometimes you'll have to draw, sometimes you'll have to guess what the drawing is that you got, and then at the end we will see how that goes. So I'm going to stop sharing because I'm actually doing it on my phone. Okay, so let me start the game. Do you, maybe we can select the pack. Oh no, it's not letting me. Let's see. Sorry, technical difficulties. Oh no. Wait, Jenny, can you start a game? It's not letting me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Just go to new game,
Uh-huh.
and then it's gonna ask you to put your name.
Uh-huh. And then
After that, just for the word pack, put Pictionary.
okay.
And then 30 seconds is gonna be our time to draw.
Uh-huh.
And then I think that should be good to start the game.
Okay. And also we need to select a word pack, which is Pictionary, right?
Yeah. Is it not letting you?
Okay. I think we need to set the game code and then having at least 4 players, and then that's when we can start the game.
Okay. Do you have the code? I'll type it in the chat.
Yeah, I don't have the code, so.
Okay. Okay, then I'll do it. So the code is IIXP. So I just sent it in the chat. Okay, I see Bonnie and Janine. Jane the bear, Sandy. Gabby, okay. think we're missing Amanda. Is everyone in? Oh no, someone disappeared.
Sorry, it's me.
Oh.
Okay.
Is everyone in? Or does anyone need more time or isn't sure how to?
We have 8 people so far, but we should be having 3 more people if possible.
Alyssa and Amanda. Oh, thank you, Jane. Yeah, just drop phone. Make sure drop phone is like together. Yeah. Thank you, Jane. Okay, well, I'll give it a few. The code is IIXP. Yeah.
We are losing people for some reason.
I know someone left. Is anyone not in that wants to be in?
I guess we can start. We have 8 people now.
Okay. Okay, so we'll start it. So I'm gonna start the game. Okay. So draw what it says at the top. And once you start drawing, it'll start counting down the 30 seconds. But if you're done, you can just put done. Okay, so now you have to guess what that drawing is. Whatever comes to mind. Okay, so now draw that one, the new word. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I've done it before where it's like just 10 seconds to draw. That's really hard. Okay, so now guess what drawing that is? Somebody.
I apologize for whoever see my drawing.
Huh?
I apologize for whoever is guessing my.
I've gotten pretty good ones, honestly.
There's one more person in the waiting room, and I let her in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so guess what that is. Oh, this one's funny. I don't know what that is. Okay. So right now we're doing a game icebreaker. Yeah, so we'll just do this one round. Okay, I think we're still waiting. Oh, Jenny, did you disconnect?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So you have to join again or else we can't continue the game.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay though. Like, don't worry. We're good on time. So
Okay, I'm back.
okay, yeah. Okay, so begin drawing again. I think this is the last drawing round.
Okay.
So at the end, it's going to show like every single word and the transition and who drew what. So it's going to show like who guessed what and who drew what and how the word ended up being like, if it did end up being completely different. Sometimes the word is pretty simple and it just stays the same. But it's funny to see how people draw differently. The same thing. Okay, so I don't know if it shows like your word. And so you can see like what you drew first and then what they guessed and then what they kept drawing after. So if anyone has like a really good one or funny one that they want to share. Okay, so I'll share mine. Let me see if I can make the screen not as bright. So I started off with battery and I drew that. And then Sandy got battery and then the next person drew it, but then it went to outlet. And then I don't know, this looks like a pan. So someone drew this and then they guessed pan. So then they got like more and more like a pan. And then someone said microscope. So the word ended up being microscope. So my word went from battery to microscope. Does anyone have other interesting ones? I see Jane started with electrical outlet and then Bonnie thought it was baking cookies with heat from the sun. That's good.
Yes, and I saw the word like baking cookies from the heat from the sun, and I was like, that's so specific, y'all, and that's hard. And then I'm like, baking cookies from the heat from the sun. Yes, and it's not like even a word. Like the one I'm getting is hummingbird, and it's went from bird to chicken at the end, but I guess it's like really close, honestly.
That's funny. Someone in the chat, who was it? Gabriela said basket did great. Okay, yeah, so basket stayed basket, really good. Um, so did forest. Forest stayed forest. That's good. Pan. Oh, we actually did have a pan. Computer mouse. Oh, that's funny. It went from pan to computer mouse, to rat to mouse to mouse. Okay, so pan became mouse. Nest became a ball. Whose is that one? Is that yours? Oh, nest, tumbleweed, circle, circle, ball. That's funny. So yeah, so this was just like something fun to do and to show you how, like, you know, we think miscommunication or communicating is just through language or actual words, but oh my god, no, my bird was so bad. Thank you, Bonnie, though. So yeah, it's just to show how, like, art and drawings or paintings or whatever it is you're doing is really portraying a message as well, right? Like, and not everyone receives the same message. Like, I can look at a painting and Jenny can look at the same painting and we're not going to get the same thing out of it. So yeah, that was just a way of like engaging with you all in how we're all drawing at the same time, right? And we're all like passing the same drawings along to each other, but we're not all getting the same things from it. So that, just thought it was a really interesting game. When I played it, I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Sorry, let me move this. Okay, so thank you for participating. I hope it was fun. I think the most fun part is to see the result at the end. So I hope everyone had fun. So moving on, we're just going to briefly show, or not show, but like talk about some tips and tricks that we think are important to know if you're starting to draw or if like you've been drawing but you're still like a beginner. So do you want me to go first, Jenny?
Yeah.
Okay. So for drawing specifically, what I'm going to be talking about today is grayscale, just because the other things I do are a little bit more complicated in terms of like the things you need. But so drawing grayscale, the first tip I would give is to really loosen your wrist as you hold the graphite pencil. So I know for me, when I started getting more serious about my drawings, I would still hold my pencil really hard. And like really dig into the paper. So I realized that something that makes your drawing look even better is to just loosen your wrist. That way you also don't hurt it, because after a while it does start to hurt if you're like tightly gripping it. So just let it fall smoothly and loosely on the paper. And this means that sometimes you will not get the result you want. So like, let's say you're trying to just simply draw a line, but if you try to like loosen your wrist, the line might be like, you know, like a curvy line or all over the place. So it's really important to know that like being able to draw swiftly and not putting pressure does take practice. So it's totally fine if the first times it doesn't look like you want it to look. Just keep practicing, you know, loosening your wrist. It's sort of like when you practice an instrument as well. So yeah, that's my first tip. And then another tip is do not draw without lifting your pencil. I feel like most people think, oh, like if I'm drawing a circle, like I should just, you know, one go do the circle. But personally for me, I think that would make my circle not really look like a circle, and it makes it look really fake. So I would recommend strokes to make your drawings look more natural and realistic. So if you're doing a circle, and I can kind of show it real quick. Oh wait, but you can't really see me. But I'll show it later on, but it's like do strokes as you're doing the circle. And this also allows you to make it more of an actual circle. Because I know if you try to do it once, it's not going to be a perfect circle, but strokes help it look more natural and more like a circle. And then my third tip would be don't focus on symmetry for your drawings. This was a very big one for me as I started drawing and getting more serious later on. I think I would always be like, oh my gosh, like this eye is like slightly lower than the other, or you know, this doesn't look like this on the same page, even though it has to be. So just, yeah, don't be nitpicky about that. I know it's hard, but it really is impossible to make your drawings perfect, even when you've been drawing for years. So really give that patience to yourself. And we are also, I feel like my face is not symmetrical. So if I were drawing myself, like I need to be realistic too. And you know, so like we're not symmetrical, right? Like things in real life are not. And so I think that that makes it pop out more as more realistic than if you make everything really specific and you put it at very specific places. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I show my drawing, because part of what I'm going to teach you how to draw, and I hope that you can draw along with me, is something that isn't symmetrical, right? It's not perfect. So you need to really learn that it's okay to have that in your drawing. And then the last one, I learned this when I took classes in high school, and it's really to fill the space of the paper as much as possible, right? So if you are starting with like this size paper, right? Like make sure you are really using up the whole thing and filling it up. Because if you have a big piece of paper and you use up like a quarter of it or just like the middle part, that doesn't really make your drawing stand out. I would probably look at it and be more focused on why there's so many blank space around it. So really fill up the paper as much as possible, even if what you're drawing isn't something that's usually big. But if you have a paper that's like big in itself and all you're doing is that drawing, then like go for it, like fill it up and use it to really make it pop out more. Jenny?
Okay, so for me, like there are 4 tips I'll be like sharing with y'all. So first of all, it's like to try to scratch the outline like before like you draw something that you think is like really hard. Like for me, like I can never really do a perfect circle like when I want to like draw a moon or something. That's why like I normally try to use like something like this, like to like use the shape like to do a circle and then just like cover it with paint after. Next one, I guess, is like you don't really like, especially for beginners, you don't really have to buy all of the paint. And I personally enjoy a lot just by making like all the colors and look at what it came out to be. Next one is like this is one reason I really like acrylic painting, which is they dry really quickly. And when it dries, you can always cover it with another layer. Like even though you mess up, you can always like kind of save it at the end. Last one is like at least for my paint, it does get darker after it dries. Like so, like there's one time I tried to do a bunny at nighttime and I couldn't really see all that good. And when it's like in the morning time, I saw it and it's really, really dark. It's totally different from like the picture I was thinking like in my head. So I will be like talking more about the tips when I actually started like showing you all how to do like something.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to open up the chat or like unmute yourselves. Do any of you have any other tips or tricks that maybe you think are helpful or that you use if you have been drawing or painting, or any questions on the ones we gave?
And also like the thing is like in terms of painting.
Okay, so if you just think of something or you want to share it, just feel free to add it in the chat. But we can go on to the next one. So the next thing we have is we have an activity. So Jenny will be leading one and I will be leading another one. And I will be focusing on drawing and she will be doing painting. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to switch into my phone so I can show you a little bit better. So I'll go first. Let me just. I will leave this one, but I will appear in my other box.
Okay, sorry. Like meanwhile, like if you like joined like kind of late and haven't really sent your name and email like in the chat, so we can like make sure how many people are attending, like which is related to our bingo card. So feel free to either message it in the big group or just message me or Emily privately. Thank you.
Okay, so if you all, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, they can hear me pretty well. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to hold my phone as I draw. Sorry if like this isn't the best view. So if you want to put it in speaker view so that it can pop up as like the primary screen on your computer. So what I'm gonna be teaching you how to draw is, so I drew this eye, which is a little bit, I'm sorry, my hand is gross. I drew this eye, which is a little bit more simple than this one. This one's more realistic, and like if you can tell, like this one is not shaded right here inside the eyeball, so like you can't really tell that it's an eyeball. But then this one is shaded inside to give it that roundness, or that make it look a little bit more round. So the first thing I wanted to cover before we start, and if you're going along, and I'm going to quickly let me know.
Emily, sorry. Like we don't really hear you all that good.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, right now it's better. Okay.
Sorry. I think I was too far from my phone because I'm like making it closer, but okay. So the first thing that I wanted to show is like shading is really important when it comes to like making your drawings more realistic. So what I would do when I started practicing how to shade is I would do this sort of like, I call it tornado, but it's just like a gradient where you can practice going from dark to light, or vice versa. So it really is just like you start off with the line and it's dark, and then you can do that for a little bit, and then you start releasing pressure, and so then it starts getting lighter. And yeah, so as you go down, you just keep releasing pressure, and it's fine if it doesn't do it smoothly because you can always go back and fix it. So yeah, so you do it until you've gotten to like the lightest possible pressure you can put, and then you can go back and kind of make it gradate or like blend in a little bit more. So yeah, so that's a really good way of practicing shading, and it also is a good way to practice loosening your wrist, like I mentioned in the previous tip. So yeah, so just if you want to really practice shading, that's a really good technique to do. And then in terms of pencil, so I'm currently using a 2B Prismacolor pencil. And so what these numbers mean, so what the numbers mean, there's a scale in like drawing, pencil drawing. So you have like, there's like a scale. I don't know if you can see it that well, but like there's 4B, and then the 2B that I'm using, there's 3B, just B, HB, and HB is like your typical number 2 pencil. So this is like what people usually use to write as well. And then there's F, which is, where is it? There's F right here, which is for firm. And then the scale goes from B to H. So then now it's H, 2H, 3H, 4H, 5H, where is it? 5H, and 6H. So what that means is the B stands for black. So your scale after HB, starting with B and then 2B, 3B, 4B, all the way to 9B, is the pencils will get darker. So when you actually draw with them, they will have like a more darker tone to them and more black. And then, so the scale is from 9 to 2, so downwards, right? Like the blacker one is 9. But then the other scale for H goes the other way. So then you would start with 2H and go all the way to 9H, but I only have up to 6H. And what the H means is hardness. And what that means is that the pencil is more hard than the B ones. So like 4B is very soft, not in terms of color, right? Because they're darker, but in terms of the pressure that it has on the paper.
So 4B puts less pressure on the paper than a 3B, and then a 3B puts more than a 2B, and so on. And for H, it's the harder, like the higher the number, the harder it is. And that means that a 6H would put more pressure on the paper than a 2H. So it might leave like a really strong indent that even if you erase, you can still see. So that's kind of like a quick rundown of the pencils. There's a lot to know about them, but they're not really important until you start actually using multiple ones. And sometimes you don't really need to use multiple pencils as long as you just change the pressure on your wrist. You can make them lighter or darker without having to go from like a 2B to a 4B and so on. So I'm going to start showing you how to draw the eye. We'll see if there's enough time to make it like this one, but if not, then it'll be more of like this eye. But either way, just let me know if I'm going too fast. So usually what I do first, I always like to draw eyes ever since like I started drawing at the age of like 5. And obviously it was really like generic drawings. I would draw like my favorite Disney characters or just little things like that. And then it was until middle school that I started getting more serious about my drawings and making them more realistic. So it does take a while to get there. And I think that there's a lot of improving for me to do still, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. It's always been a part of my life, so I'm really like passionate about it. So eyes is something that I started, no, eyes are something that I started drawing when I got into more realistic grayscale drawings, just because I feel like they're so dense and like to get the amount of depth needed or like the reflection is kind of hard, but it should be, it's possible. So I'm gonna start off, so I'm gonna make it bigger than this one. This one's just a reference so that you can see it better. But I usually start off like the tip right here, which is like this weird like skin part we have in our eye. Like if you look in the inner part of your eye, like it's not your eyeball and then just like your skin, it's like this weird looking thing. So I usually start with that, and what I do is I do like a tip that faces downward. So like a little corner like that, kind of facing downward, kind of not. So I do that, and then I go up a little bit, and then after this, I kind of turn it, not a complete corner, but I turn it so that it's not going the same direction. And then you kind of go towards the corner of the eye after that. So you can do it like that, and you totally fine if you need to erase. Honestly, like you always will need to erase just because it doesn't always work out the first time. So what I use to erase is this one, which is like a specific eraser that came with the pencils. But if you're using like a regular number 2 pencil, you can just use a regular eraser. This one is more because my pencils are graphite, like stronger graphite. So once you get into like the 2B, 4B and all that scale, like it would be nice to get like a really good eraser that is like used exactly for that. So then from this corner to do like the bottom part of the eye, you would not go straight, but you would kind of want to go a little bit downward, not too much, but to give it that like little bump that you usually have, because your eye doesn't go like straight out, it goes sort of downward. So then you connect it to the other one. And if you feel like your tip is too high or too low, you can totally change it. It really depends on like the eye shape you want. But that's basically how I start. And then the next thing I do is I do the eyelid. So the eyelid can kind of line up with the tip of this, and then give it like, I don't know how much space. Sorry if my hand is shaking. But yeah, just give it like, I don't know, maybe like 2 centimeters, if you even know how big centimeters are. But yeah, just draw it like a little bit over and then make it follow sort of the eye shape. So like that same corner that the eye has, you can kind of implement on the eyelid. Sorry, I'm gonna zoom out because I have to put my hand. remember strokes are very important. So like don't just like shoom, like do the line, but make strokes. So then, yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. And that will be like this darker part later. So that gives the eye depth. And then after that, I usually make another line at the bottom. But actually, yeah, no, actually we're just going to start off with the inner part of the eye. So you can start off by drawing a circle in the, like, to make the actual like iris and pupil. So I usually do not close it at the top. So like I'll start the eye, like I'll start it like right here, and then the other part maybe like a little bit like right here. And then it also, that also depends on where you want the person to be looking at. So if you want the person to seem like they're looking sideways, you would obviously have to change the way that you do it. But for now, we can just, doesn't really matter how it comes out. So like you can do that. And then I usually do close it at the bottom. So like you can do the circle and remember strokes. And then it's totally okay if it does like close at the bottom. So like if you can see the end of the eye, like that's totally fine. So then you have that. That kind of gives you like an idea. Oh, let me let Danny in. So then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to decide our light source. For those of you that have heard me go through this before, you know how important it is to have a light source. So we're going to determine our light source. And for now, we're going to make it so that it's right here, like towards the right of the eye. So what I usually do is I just draw like, I don't know, like a light bulb or something, because you have to make sure you keep reminding yourself of where your light source is, because that's going to be crucial to when you're shading. So our light source is coming from here, right? So let's just say it's here. So then the way you're going to do your reflection in the eye is, let's say you're trying to show maybe like, oh, the eye is but the reflection is like a window. So then let's say the window's rectangular, right? So then your reflection would have to be a rectangle, like this one, right? That would be coming from like a rectangular window. Or if you want your reflection to be something more square, then you can do square. You can also do circle if it's something that is giving the eye light through a circle. But for now, let's say like the eye is looking out a window. So then you don't want to put the rectangle like straight. You want to make sure that you sort of do like, I usually just go like this type of shape, so that it gives it more realistic, a more realistic feeling than just like a rectangle that doesn't really, wouldn't give the eye that circular feeling. So then since our light source is coming from here, our reflection would be at the top right. So then what we can do is we can make that shape that I showed earlier. And in terms of how big you want it, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I usually just make it so that it's kind of like, I don't know, not too big, but also not part of like where the pupil is going to be. So you can do that. And then after that, you're going to draw a circle. You can do like a point kind of in the middle, or as close as you want it to be in the middle, and then surround it with the circle to do the iris or pupil. Is it the pupil? Yeah. So then you will do this. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Yeah, so you can do that. And then after you do that, what I usually do is I leave like I do this squiggly line and then I follow it again. So yeah, so I usually do that. And what that does is I will fill the spaces next to it dark so that you can fill it and just put pressure in on your pencil. And then you're still going to shade this white part. Like you're not going to leave it white. But what I usually like to do is I like to shade it a little lighter so that you have that sort of difference. And it doesn't have to be a major difference, just as long as you can kind of tell that there's like something there that's different. And then, so yeah, so after that, just to add more texture, what you can do is you're going to do like a squiggly line around, and the more like weird it is, the better. So like make sure it's not in a pattern that you can tell is a pattern, just because eyes are not perfect like that. Like eyes don't have a perfect pattern. And where that's going to start is it's going to start from one end of the highlight, and you're not touching the highlight at all. So the highlight is going to remain white inside. But what you can do is you can start your squiggly line like from one corner, and then just do a squiggly line, and then make it as random as you can, and then connect it to the other end of the highlight. Okay, so then after that, the next step would be go to the ends right here, like the outline, and then make it as dark as you want it to be. This also depends on what color you want the eye to be. So like if you wanted a lighter color, it would be lighter, but if you want like a dark brown eye, it would be darker. So like see how the outline is darker here, and then it kind of gradates like inside to lighter. So that's what we're gonna do now. So outline it really dark, or as dark as you want it, depending on what color your eye is going to be. But yeah, just for now, do it. Sorry if I'm shaking. It's kind of hard to draw while holding my phone, but yeah, so like that, and then start kind of gradating it out towards the middle. So like add more of gray color, and you can do it in circular motions, totally fine. Because you won't be able to tell that much once you put more detail in the eye. Make sure you don't pass the squiggly line that you drew as you're doing this though. Sorry, I'm gonna move my phone a little bit because I can't really. So yeah, just kind of fill it in with grayer parts. And then the next step would be, you see how our light source is from here? So you really want to make all the top part of your eye darker because that's not receiving as much light. But for now, we can start by making the inside darker. So from the top, make another dark like distinction, and then make it grayer and grayer as you go inside, like lighter. Remember that the highlight has to remain completely white. So after this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add like the lines that you see like coming out. And then those, I recommend like, okay, this is the pupil, right? This circle right here. So I recommend like drawing a dot or imagining a dot in the middle and then making the lines from that dot, like that, so that we're not doing this and the lines end up like all squiggly. So again, like pretend that there's a dot in the middle and then draw your lines like that. And then these can vary in like how long they are, like they can vary in how dark as well. Because like I said, like eyes are not really perfect like that in real life. So you can go the first round and then you can just keep adding more as you go. So, okay, so now we can start like gradating more of the gray now that we have the lines. So now fill up your eye with your pencil. So like start gradating the pencil, the gray inside. And again, you can do circular motions if it's easier, because like if you do it line, it might not look as gradated or like smooth. And then, yeah, so, and then if you still want like your other areas darker, you can do that. But yeah, once you add this gray part, you can start to see how the eye starts to look more realistic. And you could also do this with colors. So like if you have colored pencils and you want to add, instead of grayscale, you want to draw the actual color of the eye, like let's say it's a blue eye, then you would do the same with the blue colored pencil. You would make sure that the blue is darker on the outside, and then it gets lighter as you go inside. So that's pretty much the most like complicated part of the eye that I can show you, like when it comes to the inside. So now to add texture to the outside, so like this little corner right here, add a line that is sort of round so that it shows that it's the eyeball, right? So like add a line and then shade the inside. And this corner right here that I'm currently shading is going to be the darkest part, because again, the light source is coming from the top, right? So this corner is receiving less light. And then you can kind of loosen your grip so that it gets lighter as you go out. So are we all good? So then that's how you kind of like make the inside. And then to shade the inside so that it has like the texture of an eyeball, we're going to shade with strokes that follow the shape of the outside of your eye. So like follows this shape right here. Make sure that it does that, because if not, it won't look round. So like this shape, and then you just shade in that. And you have to make, if you make small strokes at first, it's totally fine. Like if it doesn't look filled up, that's totally okay. You can just continue to do it so that it fills up. So again, strokes that are in line with the shape of your iris. And then in terms of shading, again, this corner right here is going to be darker because it's getting less light from the light source that is up in the right corner. So then you shade it a little bit darker. And then once that's filled, we can move on to the next side. And then same thing for the bottom, you can just kind of fill it up any shape. Same thing for this side, follow the shape of this line. So shade it this way. And you can do a light shading first, like the first go, and then determine again where your light source is. So then the light source is right here. So the darker part would be down here. So it could kind of get dark and then lighter as we go up. So you can kind of see. And then if you remember how we did this top part darker, because there's like a hood in the eye, right? The eye is like hooded. Now we can implement that all around. So then you can come out into the shaded part and kind of make those parts darker as well, just to kind of get more depth to the eye and show that it's not getting any light either from the light source above. Yeah, so I don't want to go over time, so I'll just quickly like talk a little bit about how you shade or draw the eyelashes. So remember, so for this right here, which is your eyelid, this one will be the darkest part. So if you can see from here, like it's pretty dark compared to everything. So you can establish how dark you want it first, and then honestly, the shading, always shade in terms of the shape. So your shading here will be in the shape of the line and the eye. So like first here, then you would kind of shift this way and then go down after that. And then I would now add a line not that dark, but also not that light underneath the eye, which is like representing the bottom part, the bottom line. So then, yeah, this one isn't usually that dark, so don't make it too dark. And then same thing, you will shade around it according to like the shape of the line. So if you see in this one, even the wrinkles and like the shading is like in the shape of the bottom part of the eye. And then for the eyelashes, I usually like to use this pen right here, which is like a 0.25, so it's very, very thin. I don't know if you can see it, but with the eyelashes, what you have to do is you have to make sure you don't make them like too perfect, like in line like that, because remember, like eyelashes are not perfect, so it would be good to do like one like that and then maybe connect the other one like to show how it kind of splits, or maybe like one of the eyelashes goes like this way, this way instead of like the way that they should go. And then remember that eyelashes are longer at the top and darker, so make it darker, make them longer. And then the bottom eyelashes, so these top lashes, you would start here right on the line of your eye, but then the bottom ones, you want to start them on the other line that you drew at the bottom, like kind of in between. So like they're not really on the eye or where the eye ends, they're more of like at the bottom. So you can start like drawing one eyelash here and then one eyelash here and then one in the middle and then one in the corner. That's what I usually do. And then another one here and then another one here. So like one here, and then one here. And they also get smaller as you get closer to like the inner part of the eye. So your eyelash here and here would be smaller than your eyelashes here. So that's how you do the eyelashes, and hopefully like it's something like this. But yeah, are there any questions? Or that's pretty much the most complicated part. After that, just shading out the outside and like adding the eyelashes isn't too difficult.
Do you wanna finish the eyelash part? Because I think we still have the time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so really quick. So then, yeah, so after I do this, like do one on the end, one in the middle, and one in the other end, I just go in and fill them out. And the top ones do look kind of like J's. So if you just like, sorry, I can see, draw J's, like you can. So the ones on the end are obviously more curved. Once you get towards the middle, there's like less of a defined curve, just because you're getting more into like the straight, you're looking straight at the eye as opposed to like towards the side. So that's another thing you can make sure you're doing. So like as you get closer to the middle, the J isn't as defined anymore, and they're kind of just like straight up. And then once you get to this side, the J's are now the other way. Sorry, my pen is not working. The J's are now like this way. And remember that they're smaller as well. And they don't have to be perfect. So if you like mess up or one of them goes another way, that's even better. Because yeah, eyelashes are not really perfect. And I usually like to do them to pass like this line, like you see here, like they pass the dark line here. But it's totally up to you, honestly, how you want to do that. And then for the bottom, same thing. So remember, not from this line, but like kind of from the bottom. And then the bottom eyelashes are even crazier than the top ones in terms of how they grow out. So these, if you want to make them like even more crazy, like that's totally fine. It'll make it look more realistic. So yeah, just keep adding like lines, and work with it, see what you like and what you don't like. It really depends on how you want your eye to be. There's not like one specific there's not one specific way of doing it, if that makes sense. So yeah, so once you establish them, like just keep going over them to make them darker and darker, as dark as you want. Yeah. And then for really quick, just for wrinkles, if you want to add like depth, like you can do them at the bottom, like this one right here, is a good way of showing like more texture to the skin, and also like doing them here in this line, like making a line, like making lines that go out like this, and then the bottom ones can be more of like lines like this, and then just make sure that they're darker once you like do your shading, like this. But yeah, that's it for me. Boy. So again, like, yeah, if shading is kind of difficult, just practicing in the grading. And oh yeah, if anyone actually, wait, hold on, let me go back to my computer screen.
Yes, is anyone up following along? I would like to kind of like show it like your drawing. That would be really nice.
Did anyone draw it? And oh, let me see, Jane. Oh, that's really good. Whoa. The iris is actually really good. Very nice. Oh, that's good too. Wow. It's really big too. Good job. Wow. Really good.
Is there anyone like to like show their eyes or like have any last minute questions? Here is your time.
Let me disconnect from my phone. Oh, okay. What does it say? I don't what? I don't have a pencil. That's really good for a pen though. I could never. Pen, you can't really shade with pen, so you did a really good job. Yeah, but thank you for following along. I know it was a lot, but yeah, hopefully you learned something new.
Okay, shall I go? Like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, okay, so it's my turn, and honestly, I don't have all those, like, really all those rules to kind of share. Okay, I'll share my painting like work really quickly. This is some like the best of my work so far, honestly, because I only started like painting and drawing like about like once quarantine started, and like but before, like you're always thinking like you don't really have enough time to do things like this. But right now is like the perfect time. And honestly, just playing with colors is really distressing in a lot of ways. So unfortunately, I won't really be showing something complicated because with acrylic painting, like you actually have to wait for the layers dry, and that really takes a lot of time. So for this one, I'll show something really simple. Everyone can learn should be able to learn this in the 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, can everyone see this? Okay, so you can grab a pencil or marker like if you want to follow along. So the first thing I did is to draw the outline. I don't really often like draw the outline, but at this time, I felt like just to show y'all better, like I actually did this. So if you all can grab a pencil and kind of draw the shape of the sunflowers, that would be nice. And I'll just be getting the pen like meanwhile.
Can you show it again, the outline that we have to draw?
Okay, it's something look like this, but the outline look like this.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, for the circle, I use the tip like as kind of like a round object. And also like for the petals, like whichever you felt like it, whether it's round or shape, but yes, it's totally up to you. Emily, are you good with the shape?
Huh?
Okay, I felt like everyone's pretty much done with the outside part, the outline part of it. So like for this one, honestly, okay, so I already squeezed the paint on my plate. And one tip for this one is because the paint really dry out super fast. So you don't really want to squeeze too much at once, because otherwise it's gonna just dry out. So okay, I'll do the background part which I'm going to mix the gray part and the white part to have a light greenish color. That's what I do for almost every color, where you can always just get a lighter or darker color by mixing with the white paint. Yes. And for this one, I'll just be doing the with the greenish color, which is anyone can do this. You can do this with your pencil just to give it a greenish background. So I already did my background, but just to give a lot, give it a bit more texture, you can use a sponge, and I guess I'll show this on different paper. Okay. Sorry. Because with the sponge, it will really give us a nice texture, rather than what you can really do with your brushes, and it's just way easier to create textures on the background. Okay. So next one is gonna be with the flowers. So the only thing I wanna say about this is try to do whatever, because if you do the flowers and you do this one, you know which is gonna be covering the first layer you already did. So just trying to picture in your head which layer you wanna be kind of covered when you're doing the next round. And for this one, okay, just like the ones I showed here, I'll be using three colors mainly, which is this yellow and this one, and also orange, if you all can see it. And I felt a easier way to do it is to use half of your brush with the light yellow and the other with a darker yellow, and also kind of in the middle, not to get too much of it, but get a little bit of orange. Okay, so and by doing this, if y'all can see, you are getting three colors at once, it will look different if you do first with, you do every time it's one color, it's gonna be different if you do it with 3 colors at once. So if you're doing this with like color pencils or markers, just feel free to use which color you want. But for this one, I'll just be using 2 kinds of yellow and 1 kind of orange. Emily, are you able to color it or no? Okay, so that's gonna be my first layer. Like there are actually differences in colors, but you can't really see it from my screen, I'm sorry. The next one I'll do is to find like a smaller brush and like just dip with whichever color you want and just add onto it. So it can get this kind of texture, like rather than just plain like yellow or orange color, you're doing all of those small fine details. Like all of this. Okay. How I normally do it is I put the darker colors like at a more outside layer, like such as orange more on the outside of the flower petal, but like lighter yellow at more like inside part. Gosh. And just honestly try to be creative because it's your painting and it's art either way. So like feel free to use which color you want. I saw people doing it with blue pen and it just looks amazing, honestly. Okay. And for example, like I really messed up for this one. I put too much orange at once, and what I do it is just to cover it with another layer, so people won't really see it. I felt like I like actually like painting like so much because people are not really gonna know that whether you're doing good or not. Because like you can just play around with colors like whatever you feel like it. Okay, sorry. Okay. So honestly, like for this one, like the reason why I was able to having more texture on this one is like it took me like a longer time to draw it. Like I just applied different layers every time the first one got dried. So it's like more than 5 layers at least, I guess. So I'll be doing the middle part, which is the chocolate colored flower, like this part. Can't see a flower, Hallie. Can't see a flower. That's so nice. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for this one, okay. Because like how I picture like sunflower is like this, and then this. First like having the column and then having this. So if that's how you want to do it, like that's totally fine because after it's kind of dries out, so however like you brush this, you will be able to see the texture and the layer at the end. Okay, I'll actually put red on it. Okay. To have it more like feel alive, like using red color. Okay. Okay, so for this one, I'll squeeze like a bit more brownish color just on my plate. Okay, canvas. And what you can do with this is using cotton swabs and just, I wish I can show this a little more clear, but basically it's just to like kind of like smush it in a way and also just poke it so it can have the dot like inside, like how I picture sunflowers to normally be. It's so quiet.
We're focusing.
Yeah, like just feel free to like poke it like as random as you want because it doesn't matter and there's no perfect sunflower either, so. Okay, yeah. I hope you can kind of see the textures. That's how I did it. Yeah, like using this. So, okay. So, okay. So the flower part is still kind of mushy, honestly, but I'll try to apply another layer to like just to make it feel like more colorful, like in a way that looked like this. Okay, like you can see the difference, right? Like this one is like really plain and this one just have a lot of like layers.
Yeah. While you do that, I'm going to share my screen again real quick so that I can show the evaluation.
Yes. Okay.
Really quick. Sorry about that. Oh, and for those that came in later, if you could please
Say your name.
your name and your email. Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Oh, okay, there we go. So these are just some drawing games and de-stressing that you can do online. So we will be sharing them. If you want us to share it to your email, we actually created a document with everything, with all the resources and the tips and tricks that we went over. So we can share that. So if you want us to do that, let us know in the chat. And yeah, there's a Google form, there's an evaluation that it would be great if you could all fill out for us just to see, you know, how the event went for you and for us to know if this was something that would be nice to have again or something similar. So yeah, if you could just follow this link, please. Okay. Yeah, but we will send out the doc. So let me actually put in the chat the link. Let me know when you're done, Jenny, and I will stop sharing the screen.
Yes, honestly, for this one, you can just keep add on and add on. Like, okay.
So yeah, I sent the link to the chat. So I will stop sharing. Yeah, so but is there anything you want to share more, Jenny?
Okay, let me check my list really quickly. Yes, I felt like I pretty much shared everything, and the last one is just kind of like just add onto it, like how I said, you can like literally draw with the sponge, and you can draw with like cotton swabs. And also another thing that is really helpful to use is toothbrush, like especially like when you are doing like stars, like when you are drawing the sky, and you can like what you do is just get white and use like a pen like to do this. Okay. How do I show this? Okay. Okay. Like okay. That's how you can like do it, like can you see it? Should I use a different color? Okay.
So you can see it's splatters, right?
Yes, and it's just like really helpful like when you want to do splatters, but you don't really want to like draw it like every single dot with your brush. Yes.
Very nice. Okay, so yeah, so that concludes our event. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being attentive. And also, if you tried it out, I hope that it turned out really well, but also don't be discouraged if like, you know, the first times it doesn't look the way you want it to. But yeah, just we're really thankful that you were willing to come and learn more. Oh, Jane, I want to see your sunflower. And yeah, if anyone wants to share really quickly, like if they followed along with any of the. Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't get to see it, Jen. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was fun. Sorry that it was a lot of talking, but I hope you all were able to follow along and get some good tips. And yeah, for sure, if whether it's like an eye or a sunflower or painting or pencil, yeah, really never be discouraged to keep trying and practicing because the more you practice, the better you get. So yeah, thank you for coming.
Yes, and thanks for bearing with us. Like I'm pretty new to this, as you all can see, but thank you.
No, stop. You're really good. Yeah, but thank you. Have a good weekend and a good rest of your quarter.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Cece.
Okay.
Bye.
We're gonna be sending them the doc, right?
I'm gonna stop. Do you want to stop recording?
Yes.